it is treasonous, almost treason, to criticize the President of the United States. He's not a king. He is not our emperor. He's a dude who got elected to office. Welcome to your Dollemore Daily. I am your host, Jesse Dollemore. Back from Japan, had a leisurely yet also a lot of work that I did while I was there. There's a couple of videos I'm going to do in a little while, compiling some of the footage I have from Hiroshima and talking about Donald Trump's promise to bring nuclear back. He just served it up on a silver platter, and we'll be talking about it. Today, though, and right now, let's talk about this. Let's start here. When you imbue power, when you give power to a sociopath like Donald Trump, there's never enough power. There's never a sufficient number of enemies. There's never enough money. There's never enough influence. There's never enough. And that is the case with Donald Trump. And when you give power to stupid people, sociopathic people, psychopathic people like Donald Trump, he believes he's a king. He believes that his power is limitless. And I have two tweets from True Social that I want to show you from him that validate this, that prove this theory. Not really a theory anymore. We've had 10 years of Donald Trump. We know his character. This is a doozy. He posted this, an attack on Seth Meyers, the immeasurably talented Seth Meyers, the immeasurably hilarious Seth Meyers, has been under attack from Donald Trump since Seth Meyers hosted the White House Correspondents' Dinner and made a series of jokes some believe was what predicated Donald Trump to run for office, that motivated it, animated his political entrance onto the U.S. scene. Here's what Donald Trump posts, and it's really the last few words that are the most troubling, that Donald Trump believes criticism of him is illegal, that being 100% anti-MAGA, anti-Trump, is probably illegal. Something he said that's similar to Chuck Schumer, that criticizing him and his trip overseas is likely treasonous. Words like that are almost treasonous, Donald Trump said. But first, there's this post from Donald Trump on True Social 2 days ago. Seth Meyers of NBC may be the least talented person to perform live in the history of television. In fact, he clarifies adroitly, he may be the worst to perform live or otherwise. I watched his show the other night for the first time in years. Yeah, nobody believes that you're not tuning in to Seth Meyers on a nightly basis to see what jokes are made about you, Donald Trump, you clown. In it, he talked endlessly about electric catapults on aircraft carriers, which I complain about as not being as good as much less expensive steam catapults. On and on he went, says the man who goes on and on about everything. A truly deranged lunatic, says a truly deranged lunatic, Donald Trump. Why does NBC waste its time and money on a guy like this? 3 question marks, so you know he's serious. No talent, no ratings, 100% anti-Trump, which is probably illegal. Where are all of the free speech warriors, the free speech absolutists when you need them? Where are all of the Charlie Kirk acolytes who all they want is just freedom of speech and the protection that the Constitution offers us relative to an unabridged, protected speech by the government? Where? This is the President of the United States saying that someone who is anti-Trump is committing a crime. If something is illegal, it's a crime. Now, for those of you who don't watch Seth Meyers, you're really missing out. He even among all of the different hosts, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers is the one that I catch just about every single night. Very smart, Very funny, very entertaining, very talented, without a doubt. I mean, it's objectively true that he's talented. It seems to me, as objective as comedy can be, it is objectively true that he is funny. His writers are brilliant. This is the clip that drew Donald Trump's ire. I'm going to play for you a short segment from his A Closer Look segment, where he talked about Donald Trump and the catapults and the steam engines, and Donald Trump believing in his demented brain that he's smarter than the wildly intelligent, well-trained engineers who have switched from these steam catapults to an electromagnetic system. Watch Seth Meyers break it down, and then we'll come back out and read another tweet from Donald Trump, a post on Truth Social, of him explaining that Chuck Schumer's criticism of him was treason.
Anyway, the point is Fox News thinks Trump commanded respect while he was in Asia, and it's hard to argue with that. I mean, just listen to him deliver this expert treatise on, oh, wait, no, this can't be right, catapults?
I know a lot about these ships. I know a lot about these things building. I want to know catapults, which is better, the electric or the steam? They're spending billions of dollars to build stupid electric. And the problem, when it breaks, you have to send up to MIT, get the most brilliant people in the world, fly them out. It's ridiculous. The steam, they said they can fix it with a hammer and a blowtorch. And it works just as well, if not better. And I love the sight of that beautiful steam pouring off that deck with the electric. You don't have that. I'm going to sign an executive order. When we build aircraft carriers, it's steam for the catapults. They spent $993 million on the catapults, trying to get them to work.
Move over, handshakes. There's about to be a new Wikipedia article. Guy spends more time thinking about catapults than Wile E. Coyote. Next. Gonna start complaining about how our troops don't tie themselves to rockets anymore. We used to strap our soldiers to the rockets and they loved it. But then everything got woke and they said you can't tie a person to a rocket, but we miss those days and we're bringing them back. I'll try my best to explain the gist of what he's talking about in a new segment we're calling Seth Translates Trump to English. Aircraft carriers use catapults to help aircraft achieve takeoff speed quickly because they have such a short distance to accelerate. For decades, aircraft catapults used steam, which was costly and labor-intensive, but then the Navy upgraded to an electromagnetic launching system that no longer requires the elaborate system of steam piping necessary to power our catapults. The electromagnetic launching system also allows for smoother and more gradual acceleration, but Trump doesn't like that because he thinks, I don't know, electricity votes for Democrats or something, and he likes seeing the steam clouds from when the old catapults launched. Experts say it would cost billions to go back to the old system, but Trump thinks he knows more about aviation than everyone else because he dances like one of those guys that holds the signaling sticks on the runway. Anyway, what were we talking about? All right. Trump commanding respect on the world stage.
So Donald Trump thinks that was illegal. Donald Trump thinks that Seth Meyers, in that little segment from his show, was breaking the law by criticizing Donald Trump. The same way that he believes if you criticize his trip to Japan, that I did while I was there, while Donald Trump was there, that it is treasonous, almost treason, to criticize the President of the United States, to criticize the behaviors, the policies of a man, of just a dude who got elected to be president. He's not a king. He is not our emperor. He is not our divine ruler. He's a dude who got elected to office, and he believes that's treasonous to criticize him. This is what he wrote on October 30th. Worked really hard, 24/7, took in trillions of dollars. He believes he took in thousands of billions of dollars. And Chuck Schumer said the trip was a total dud, even though he knows it was a spectacular success. Words like that are almost treasonous. A total dud are the words that he quoted. Those words are almost treasonous. And this coming from the leader of a party whose members constantly talk about what the penalty under law for treason is, one of the penalties, is the death penalty. Is Donald Trump here signaling that Chuck Schumer should be put to death for his almost treasonous words against the trip of the president to Japan, where he cavorted with their new right-wing dipshit prime minister, where he embarrassed the United States on a global stage, wandering off at every given moment, rambling about steam catapults. Is it treasonous? Is it illegal to be anti-Trump? It isn't yet. It isn't yet. Anyway, I'm very happy to be back. I invite you to this conversation. You're pardoning people you have no idea what their case is. You don't know anything about it. Well, what a coincidence that he just so happens to be in business with your company, World Liberty Financial, and has cashed into you $2 billion. Donald Trump gave an interview that was aired on 60 Minutes last night. And I want to remind you, he's going to remind you, but I want to remind you that they settled, CBS settled. The executive producer of 60 Minutes stepped down because of the settlement that CBS made with Donald Trump of $15 or $16 million because they edited an interview with Kamala Harris during the election. They edited an interview like they all do. They all edit interviews for time, for content. And 60 Minutes did the same thing with this interview. The same thing they paid Donald Trump for relative to Kamala Harris, they did in this interview with Donald Trump. Should Kamala be seeking a settlement with CBS for $15 or $16 million because they edited an interview with Donald Trump? I'm going to play 3 clips here. One is him talking about this settlement. This, by the way, didn't air on the full show of 60 Minutes. What they did is they put up on their YouTube channel the complete unedited interview. And this particular portion didn't make it to air. Norah O'Donnell. How strange. What a weird editorial decision to make relative to this new media atmosphere around Donald Trump, where they have bent the knee and literally paid him millions of dollars for his, I guess, the ceasing of attacks against them. Watch this first clip with Donald Trump, very brief, where he talks about the settlement. Then we're going to move into her asking about pardons. And what I'm going to do is play, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I'm getting back into the swing. What I'm going to do is play the edited version that made the air and then the unedited version to show you the vast differences in their editorial choices. But first, here he is bragging or whining, I can't tell which one it is, about the settlement that CBS paid him and the new leadership at CBS.
And actually, 60 Minutes paid me a lot of money, and you don't have to put this on because I don't want to embarrass you, and I'm sure you're not. I think you have a great new leader, frankly, because the young woman that's leading your whole enterprise is a great, from what I know, I don't know her, but I hear she's a great person. But 60 Minutes was forced to pay me a lot of money because they took her answer out that was so bad, it was election changing 2 nights before the election, and they put a new answer in. And they paid me a lot of money for that. You can't have fake news. You've got to have legit news.
You can't have fake news. You got to have legit news, he says. As he blackmails media outlets, as he strikes fear into the hearts of those with lesser intestinal fortitude, less guts, people like the cowards over at Morning Joe who ran to Mar-a-Lago as fast as they could, even before Donald Trump took office, to bend the knee, to let him know, sir, with tears in our eyes, we tell you, we're not going to attack you anymore. We're going to be nice to you, dear leader. And CBS has done the same thing. CBS is now under new ownership. Barry Weiss, the right-wing provocateur. I mean, they might as well have Tommy Lahren be running CBS News right now. But here is what CBS 60 Minutes aired relative to the pardon of CZ. I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but his last name is Zhao. He is a crypto billionaire who is now in bed after his pardon with Donald Trump to the tune of paying World Liberty Financial $2 billion. If there ever was a case of pay to play, of wild corruption, You know, the kind of thing that Republicans charged Joe Biden with during this last term, that they are now, there's crickets everywhere. It's a field of crickets. Nowhere to be seen or heard are Republicans talking about the wanton, open, public corruption of Donald Trump. Here is the edited version of her question. Then we'll play the unedited version that you'll see there is zero pushback, zero follow-up from Norah O'Donnell, who is supposed to be a straight newswoman.
This year, the president has pardoned or shortened the sentences of more than 1,600 people. The latest pardon was for a cryptocurrency tycoon who is known as CZ. The company CZ founded, Binance, helped boost the profile of the Trump family's crypto firm, World Liberty Financial. He pled guilty in 2023 to violating anti-money laundering laws.
Right.
The government at the time said that CZ had caused significant harm to U.S. national security, essentially by allowing terrorist groups like Hamas to move millions of dollars around. Why did you pardon him?
Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is. I know he got a 4-month sentence or something like that, and I heard it was a Biden witch hunt.
In 2025, his crypto exchange Binance helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty Financial's stablecoin. And then you pardoned CZ. How do you address the appearance of pay for play?
Well, here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too busy doing the other.
But
I can only tell you
that.
that.
But he got a
No,
pardon.
I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because it's probably a great industry, crypto. I think it's good. You know, they're running a business. They're not in government.
This leaves a lot of questions on the table. One, if we are to believe Donald Trump, and we are not to believe Donald Trump, but let's take him at his word that he doesn't know who Changpeng Zhao is. You're pardoning people, you have no idea what their case is. You don't know anything about it. I don't know him. Well, what a coincidence that he just so happens to be in business with your company, World Liberty Financial, and has cashed into you $2 billion. You would expect there would be a follow-up after all of that. Instead, her question, which was a longer set of questions at the beginning, was cut up into multiple segments to make it look like a follow-up, to make it look like it was that. But that's not what it was. Here, in all of its glory of about 3 minutes and 45 seconds or so, 3:25, excuse me, you can skip ahead. There'll be a timer if you've already watched it, or if you're not into watching the whole thing, you can just skip ahead to my analysis or commentary at the end here. But here's 3 minutes and 25 seconds. That clip that you just watched was 1:17. That also included B-roll and her voiceover. It wasn't just the questioning. This is what they've brought to us. This is the new 60 Minutes. Watch this.
But I don't listen to people that are stupid. Go ahead.
This is a question about pardons. The Trump family is now perhaps more associated with cryptocurrency than real estate. You and your sons, Don Jr. and Eric, have formed World Liberty Financial with the Witkoff family,
Right.
helping to make your family millions of dollars. It's in that context that I do want to ask you about crypto's richest man, a billionaire known as CZ. He pled guilty in 2023 to violating anti-money laundering laws.
Right.
The government at the time said that CZ had caused significant harm to U.S. national security, essentially by allowing terrorist groups like Hamas to move millions of dollars around. Why did you pardon him?
Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is. I know he got a 4-month sentence or something like that, and I heard it was a Biden witch hunt.
In 2025, his crypto exchange Binance helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty Financial's stablecoin. And then you pardoned CZ. How do you address the appearance of pay for play?
Well, here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too busy doing the other.
But he got a pardon. But he got a
No,
pardon.
I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because it's probably a great industry, crypto. I think it's good. You know, they're running a business. They're not in government, and they're good. My one son is the #1 bestseller now. My wife just had a #1 bestseller. I'm proud of them for doing that. I'm focused on this. I know nothing about the guy other than I hear he was a victim of weaponization by government. when you say the government, you're talking about the Biden government. It's a corrupt government. Biden was the most corrupt president, and he was the worst president we've ever had. I only care about one thing. Will we be number one in crypto? Crypto has turned out, and in that sense, I've been right. Crypto's turned out to be a massive industry, if you want to call it that. And I'm very proud to say that we are far and away ahead of China and everybody else. Now, China's getting into it very big right now. If you want to go after people, you're going to kill that industry, and it'll be very bad. Tremendous number of jobs. I campaigned positively on crypto, very openly. I campaigned. Biden campaigned against it. When Biden found out that I was getting like 100% of the crypto vote, which was a lot, he switched totally, and he went in favor of crypto. They went totally in favor. They had many people under indictment. They let them all go. They let them all go. You know that. Many people were under indictment. Biden was a corrupt president. Biden went all in on crypto at the very end because he thought he could get some votes. It didn't work. They voted for me. I want to make crypto great for America. That's the only thing. I don't want to have somebody else have crypto and have China be number one in the world in crypto. Because in crypto, it's a kind of an industry where basically you're going to have number one and you're not going to have a number two. And right now, we're number one by a long shot. I want to keep it that way. The same way we're number one with AI, we're number one with crypto. And I want to keep it that way.
I know my time is limited with you, so I want to be respectful of you, Mr. President. The issue of political violence, I want to get to, because you were nearly assassinated.
Yeah.
Moved right in to political violence. Didn't ask a follow-up, didn't push back, didn't have the facts at the ready, apparently, Norah O'Donnell, to re-ask the question about pardoning someone who paid you $2 billion to push back even gently against the absolute nonsense that Donald Trump has nothing to do with the business that his sons run. They're not in business with themselves. That $2 billion isn't Don Jr.'s and Eric Trump's. It's Donald Trump's. And we the people, deserve pushback on a question like that, on an answer like that. Because we don't have personal access to the President of the United States. We're not able to sit down and ask questions of Donald Trump directly. That's your job for us, Norah O'Donnell. You are there in our stead. You have protections under the Constitution of the United States and the First Amendment for that very reason. And instead, this is what we got. 1:17, including the extra voiceover and B-roll, cutting away all of the nonsense, all of the lies, providing no pushback, no follow-up. This is not journalism. And it's so much not journalism that it's very likely they'll try to copyright this and claim that it can't be monetized or it should be restricted in some way because I'm critiquing them and their failure. This is, in effect, bending the knee to the dear leader. Not asking follow-ups about a pardon involving a $2 billion cash transfer in crypto is a failure. What are we doing here? This is why independent media types like myself criticize the mainstream media, corporate media, bought and paid for media, surrendered media, bent the knee media. They're all in the same crowd, the same club. Influence, money, power, greed. Gross. They want to act like they're good stewards of taxpayer dollars. They want to act like fraud, waste, and abuse is the thing they want to root out. This is fraud, waste, and abuse. Look, I know that I am a bit optimistic at times, maybe too optimistic at times, that I still hold out hope for a time in America when we can expect something other than rank hypocrisy from our leaders, where we can stop electing stupid people who then in turn appoint stupid people, corrupt people, hypocrites to their positions of immense power in our government. Today I'm talking about Kash Patel, who, I'm going to play a clip. Well, let's play this clip from 2023 where Kash Patel is hand-wringing and pearl-clutching over Christopher Wray's use of the FBI jet, the G5 jet, saying that he can't just use the jet. It's like $15,000 just to start it up every time or whatever. He's whining about it. And now that he is the director of the FBI, he's not just using it for inappropriate things. He's using it for dates with his girlfriend and firing people when the news breaks that this is taking place. Lives are being destroyed. Careers are being ended because we now know that he's using the jet from the FBI to go on dates with his dipshit country girlfriend, country star, country music singer, I guess, girlfriend. And then the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigations takes to the Nazi Twitter to whine and complain that people are attacking his girlfriend when no one's attacking his girlfriend. They're attacking his use of a government aircraft to go on dates many states away and then fly to her home in Nashville. But first, here's the same Kash Patel waxing righteous over the previous FBI director's use of the jet.
And I'm not saying take all their funding. I'm not the defund everything guy. I'm just saying Chris Wray doesn't need a government-funded G5 jet to go to vacation. Maybe we ground that plane. $15,000 every time it takes off. Just a thought.
Minimum.
He's right. I don't believe the claim that Christopher Wray was using the jet to go on vacation. You can't believe anything these people say. He's a liar and a hypocrite, and an abject failure at his job. From the get-go, we knew this was what the case would be. But it's interesting hearing that clip with that much passion and gusto, gravitas from Kash Patel, when he's now guilty of the same thing, allegedly. Cover myself. It is the FBI after all. I have to be very careful, right? This is a headline from the Daily Beast. Keystone Cash orders cover-up after using $60 million plane as Uber for girlfriend. The FBI reportedly fired an official whose role involved supervising the Bureau's aviation units. The FBI has reportedly fired an official who has been at the Bureau for 27 years after stories of Kash Patel using an FBI jet to go on a date broke on Wednesday. Stephen Palmer, who joined the Bureau in 1998, was Deputy Assistant Director of the FBI's Critical Incident Response Group and charged with overseeing its aviation units. His exit was made official on Friday, making him the third CIRG boss to be fired during Patel's brief tenure, Bloomberg reported. According to three people familiar with the situation who spoke to Bloomberg, Patel was outraged by articles and social media posts that highlighted his private jet use. The articles and posts proliferated after a self-styled FBI whistleblower drew attention to his flight logs. Quote, "We're in the middle of a government shutdown where they're not even going to pay all of the employees that work for the agency that this guy heads, and this guy is jetting off to hang out with his girlfriend in Nashville on our dime?" Kyle Seraphin, a former FBI agent, said on his podcast, quote, "He flew a $60 million aircraft to go hang out there. Is this gross to anybody else?" Yes, Kyle. Yes, it is. It is gross to a lot of us. Publicly available data for Kash Patel's plane shows the plane landing near Penn State on October 25th before flying to Nashville later that evening. By the way, she was performing at Penn State, and then she lives in Nashville. You can connect the dots. There's only two of them. It's a pretty easy connection to make. A now deleted photo posted to Instagram by Patel's girlfriend, country musician Alexis Wilkins, shows the couple attending a Real American Freestyle event at Penn State that evening. Here is that deleted Instagram post. Interesting that this one particular post happened to get deleted. Does the FBI director not know that the internet is forever? Does hypocrisy rot the brain such that they forget these things? Now, this is the post from Twitter where Kash Patel whines, and I can kind of skip through here. Well, I'll read the whole thing. I am proud of the work of this FBI. That's not what we're talking about, but good for you. We're taking violent criminals off the street in record numbers, crushing the fentanyl crisis, dismantling cartels, saving children, hunting down terrorists, and so much more, everybody. It's like an OxyClean commercial. Billy Mays, was that the guy's name? Let me be clear. We will not be distracted by baseless rumors or the noise from uninformed internet anarchists and the fake news. It's always the deflection, right? I've always said, criticize me all you want, but going after the people doing great work, my personal life or those around me is a total disgrace, says Kash Patel. No one is attacking the FBI. No one is attacking the hard-working folks. No one is attacking the patriots or anything else. They're attacking you and your illegal, unethical, immoral use of public funds during a government shutdown to go on a date with your gal pal. This is where he starts ramping into the distraction territory, saying that people are attacking his girlfriend. By the way, this is a professional person. This is the director of the FBI whining on Twitter about people talking about his girlfriend. The disgustingly baseless attacks against Alexis, a true patriot, and the woman I'm proud to call my partner in life, are beyond pathetic. She is a rock-solid conservative and a country music sensation who has done more for this nation than most will in 10 lifetimes. I'm so blessed she's in my life. What has she done for this nation that would equal more than I've done in 10 lifetimes, Kash? What would it be? What could it be? What could the country music sensation have done that totals that? Attacking her isn't just wrong, it's cowardly and jeopardizes our safety. My love of family will always be my cornerstone, and you will never tear that down or keep me safe or keep me from them. I'm adding shit to it, sorry. I and this FBI... Wait, what? I and this FBI, not the FBI and me, will, blah, blah, blah? Okay. We'll stay laser focused on our mission and continue the reform we promised, rebuilding this bureau from the ground up. And to our supposed allies staying silent, your silence is louder than the clickbait haters. Flag, fist, eagle. So you know he's patriotic. Look, there's no way to tell if a post on Twitter is actually patriotic unless you see an American flag and an eagle in it. I laugh to keep myself from going into an apoplectic rage. We have the FBI director using government-funded aircraft crews, fuel. Certainly. With his own words, he said that it takes $15,000 every time it takes off. And he's flying to Penn State for a show and then to Nashville, I guess, to stay the night with his partner, his life partner, who everyone is attacking. No one is attacking. And it's crickets from the peanut gallery in the Republican Party. It's crickets from Donald Trump. They want to act like they're good stewards of taxpayer dollars. They want to act like fraud, waste, and abuse is the thing they want to root out. This is fraud, waste, and abuse. This is criminal use of a government aircraft to go on a date with his girlfriend, his country music sensation girlfriend, while they are stripping away billions of dollars from nearly 50 million poor, hungry Americans, taking away SNAP benefits, stripping away health insurance from 15 million or so people. Yet, don't worry, Kash. We got you, brother. You get to fly around and go on dates on the taxpayer dollar. Fantastic. This is the Trump administration just crystallized. distilled, boiled down to its rootest of what it is. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Let's have it in the comments below the video, wherever you're watching it. If you're on Facebook, like and follow the Dollemore Daily on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, well, both. You could do both. Subscribe on YouTube. I would appreciate that very much. If you want to help support this work, you could do that by clicking the join button below this video on YouTube, or go to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. This is who Tucker Carlson sat down with and had a longer than an hour conversation with about what his beliefs are. Remember all of the talk just in the recent months that you can't call us Nazis, the Republicans say. These GOP do-nothings, these patriots. You can't call us fascists. You can't call us Nazis. You can't call us white supremacists. Don't call us neo-Nazis. That only promotes violence. The reason that we call them Nazis and neo-Nazis and white supremacists and racists and fascists is because, well, one, they are, but they give us all the evidence that they are. Tucker Carlson recently sat down with Nick Fuentes, the dinner guest of Donald Trump, the Holocaust denier, anti-Semite, abject neo-Nazi, admitted lover of Adolf Hitler. So why would we not call them Nazis and fascists? Why would we not? And there's kind of a little bit of a split taking place in the Republican Party right now. You've got people in the Heritage Foundation camp, the Kevin Roberts camp, that say, we can't criticize anyone in the movement. This is a great conversation to have, I guess, about race and about who's a Nazi and who's not. And this should all be allowed. This is all just a debate to be had. I'm going to play that clip. But then also I'm going to play Ted Cruz at the Republican Jewish Coalition. And then we're going to get to what Nick Fuentes himself has to say about J.D. Vance, the non-Nazi, the non-fascist, Republican. But first, let's do that. Let's start with Kevin Roberts, who's the president, the grand poobah of the Heritage Foundation, the tip of the spear of Project 2025, which has now supplanted the Republican platform. The Project 2025 is the blueprint from which the Trump administration is working right now. Nearly 50% of what it proposes has been accomplished. The thing that Donald Trump disavowed during the campaign, that the media let him off the hook to disavow. Here is Kevin Roberts talking about the association of Tucker Carlson, his good friend, and Nazi Nick Fuentes.
The Heritage Foundation didn't become the intellectual backbone of the conservative movement by canceling our own people or policing the consciences of Christians. And we won't start doing that now. We don't take direction from comments on X, though we are grateful for the robust free speech debate. We also don't take direction from members or donors, though we are inherently grateful for their support. And we're adding more every day. This is the robust debate we invite with our colleagues, our movement friends, our members, and the American public. We will always defend truth. We will always defend America, and we will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda. That includes Tucker Carlson, who remains, and as I have said before, always will be a close friend of the Heritage Foundation. The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail. Most importantly, the American people expect us to be focusing on our political adversaries on the left, not attacking our friends on the right.
You may ask yourself, who is this venomous coalition that is sowing division? And I would like to introduce you to one member of the venomous coalition that is sowing division. And I've already spoiled it, but you might be surprised. Let's just act like I didn't spoil it. Let's just pretend. Let's play pretend. This particular member of the venomous coalition sowing division is none other than, noted liberal, noted progressive Ted Cruz.
And there are some people who are embraced at the highest level of government who have said there is no one they hate more than Christian Zionists. Well, I'll tell you what, there's no one I hate more than communists and jihadists who want to murder us. And now is a time for choosing. Now is a time for courage. If you sit there and nod adoringly while someone tells you that Winston Churchill was the villain of World War II, if you sit there and nod while someone says there's a very good argument America should have intervened on behalf of Nazi Germany in World War II, if you sit there with someone who says Adolf Hitler was very, very cool, and that their mission is to combat and defeat global Jewry, and you say nothing, then you are a coward and you are complicit in that evil.
He's talking about people who are embraced at the highest levels of government. He's talking about this government. He's talking about Donald Trump's administration. He's calling them cowards. It's interesting. It falls on deaf ears, though, because you'll remember that this same kind of passion and energy was brought against Donald Trump when Donald Trump called his wife ugly. He's since bent the knee and fallen in line to worship at the throne of the dear leader. He is but a high priest in the cult of Donald Trump now. But there was a time when Ted Cruz was saying the right thing, acting like a brave, bold man, defending his family, calling Donald Trump the same words that he just used against these Nazi apologists. Remember this moment.
Donald Trump retweeted a side-by-side photo of his wife Melania with Ted's wife Heidi. A short time ago, Cruz responded for the first time to that picture, telling Donald to, quote, leave Heidi the hell alone.
Let me be absolutely clear. Our spouses and our children are off bounds. It is not acceptable for a big, loud New York bully to attack my wife. It is not acceptable for him to make insults, to send nasty tweets late at night. And I don't know what he does late at night, but he tends to do these about 11:30 at night. I assume when his fear is at the highest point. I'm not looking forward to telling the girls why Donald Trump is launching insults and attacks at their mommy. I'm not looking forward to that conversation because it is not acceptable. Real men don't try to bully women. That's not an action of strength. That's an action of weakness. It's an action of fear. It's an action of a small and petty man. Heidi is my best friend in the whole world. She is the love of my life. And Donald should stick with attacking me because Heidi is way out of Donald Trump's league. You know, I have to say, seeing him go deeper and deeper to the gutter, it's not easy to tick me off. I don't get angry often. But you mess with my wife, you mess with my kids, that'll do it every time. Donald, you're a sniveling coward, and leave Heidi the hell alone.
So here is what these people on the side of defending the Nazi associations, this is who they're defending. This is who Tucker Carlson sat down with and had a longer than an hour conversation with about what his beliefs are and how he came to his beliefs and where they find common ground. If you want to watch the Tucker interview, I don't recommend it, but it's out there on YouTube. This is who they're defending. We're going to bleep out all of the racial slurs for Indians. We're going to play for you Nick Fuentes talking about the Vice President of the United States, who he calls a race mixer, a race traitor, fat and gay, coming from someone who is now being vehemently defended by the Heritage Foundation and Kevin Roberts. Watch this.
All right. Why would we let this fat guy who's married to a and works for a gay CIA Fed, why would we let him grow? It's like so insane. The J.D. Vance operation is in full swing, man. Think about it. Andrew Tate and Bronze Age pervert and all these people, for years, all they talk about is going to the gym, being a vitalist, fighting the Matrix, India smells bad, all this kind of shit. And now they're all in favor of a fat race mixer who's married to a who named his son Vivek, who was mentored by a Jewish neocon and a gay fed, Peter Thiel, and the guy's in bed with fucking Israel. And that's your guy? And I'm the controlled opposition, really? Your guy is literally a fat gay race trader who married a who works for a gay fed, a Fed informant, a CIA contractor, mentored by a Jewish neocon, and the dude's in bed with Israel. And he wears eyeliner. You know, so Andrew Tate said the Groypers need to go to the gym. Dude, J.D. Vance needs to go to the gym. He's fat and it's disgusting. People are talking about Groypers. Groypers are brown. Dude, J.D. Vance's kids are brown. His kids. His wife is brown. She's a...
But don't call them Nazis. It makes them sad. Don't call them something they're not, everybody. They're defending this. This is just a debate to be had. But J.D. Vance, look, J.D. Vance is a lot of things. But race traitor because he has a brown wife? Because his wife doesn't share the same religion as him? Because he named his son some other name that he doesn't like? He's a race traitor? He's being accused of being gay as though that's an insult or something to deny? This is the Republican Party. This is it. I mean, look, I'm here for dissension in the ranks. I'm here for chaos in the Republican Party. Absolutely. I'm here for the breakdown of structure and good order. Absolutely. But this should wake up some Republicans out there. Some, right? Like, God, this is my party? Because you know what I don't have to do all the time is defend Democrats against accusations that they're Nazis. And when one does arise, who's had a Nazi tattoo for nearly 2 decades, I speak out against them. Graham Plattner. I speak out against the former members of the KKK, like Robert Byrd when he was alive, and I don't make excuses for them. But we're not replete with Nazis in the Democratic Party. It's not Nazis and KKK members and lovers of the Confederacy who are endorsing and voting for Democrats. They're there for Trump. They're big for Donald Trump. We can talk about the party realignment until we're blue in the face, but it is clear the reality on the ground right now. That when masked Nazis march through the streets in Idaho or Ohio or Florida or name another state, they're there in support of conservatism. They're there in support of Donald Trump. Sometimes overtly, directly. The Charlottesville rally was a pro-Trump thing. Anyway, please let me know what you think. If you have insight into this new rift in the Republican Party, I'd love to hear it. If he was actually threatening mass violence on school property and activities, if he was actually threatening mass violence, how would deleting the post eliminate the threat of mass violence? The Freedom of Speech Party imprisoned a man for 5 weeks for a meme that he shared that was a quote from Donald Trump. Larry Bouchard is his name, in Tennessee. He was harassed by the local sheriff, arrested by the local sheriff's deputies, brought before a judge. A $2 million bail was set, and he was not released until just a couple of days ago when the felony charge of threats of mass violence on school property and activities was dropped. The charge was dropped. This is a failure of the system. This was harassment of a United States citizen for exercising his free speech under the Constitution of the United States. That's exactly what this was. There's no other way to look at this. He shared this meme. We have to get over it. Donald Trump on the Perry High School mass shooting one day after. And he said, this seems relevant today after Charlie Kirk was shot. This seems relevant. We have to get over it. One guy was shot on a college campus versus a mass shooting at a school, and he posts correctly the Donald Trump meme. This seems relevant today, right, folks? All of you who are outraged that Charlie Kirk, the racist Christian nationalist bigot, that he was killed unjustifiably, wrongly, immorally, should not have been killed. But no concern for the kids who are victims of a school shooting in the same county. He was arrested. Here is his court information. Perry County Sheriff's Office. Threats of mass violence on school property and activities. Bond, $2 million. Now I'm going to play an interview with the dipshit sheriff. Nick Weems is his name. And he is, look, I get criticism all the time for making fun of Southern accents. I make fun of everybody's accents. Southerners are no less intelligent than anybody else. But when invariably it's this guy, if you saw this guy and I told you the story, you'd guess his voice was and it's exactly who he is. This dipshit, this officer who is sworn to protect and support the Constitution of the United States and certainly the Constitution of the state of Tennessee, has done nothing but use his power and influence and the fact that he is an elected law enforcement officer to imprison someone with charges he knew wouldn't stick. He knew were wrong. Watch this portion of this interview with Phil Williams. You may know him as an investigative journalist in Tennessee in a local affiliate, but does amazing. Him and Kyle Clark. Kyle Clark is a guy who's a news anchor in a local affiliate in Colorado. Phil Williams is like the chief investigative guy in Tennessee at this particular local affiliate. And man, talk about the nail on the head every damn time. We need more Phil Williams at a national level is what we need. But he went in and interviewed this sheriff who harassed this Larry Bushart. And I don't know why these people agree to interviews when they are stupid, when they can't communicate well, they don't speak the English language correctly, don't understand the Constitution, and just admit that they are committing crimes against the citizens they are sworn to protect and serve. Watch this.
But you also knew this was an existing meme that was already out there on the internet.
Correct.
And so it's clear he's not talking about Perry County High School.
We knew. The public did not know.
No one even replied to that one meme, the meme that's in question here.
No one said this is a threat against our school.
No one even mentioned it.
Chris Ergel from South Carolina heard about Bussart's arrest and started a Justice for Larry Bussart page on Facebook.
A reasonable person cannot possibly interpret that as a threat. So I'm not sure what he's reacting to. I think it might be his own feelings.
So why not just inform the public that this was not about Perry County High School?
Because here's the thing. Whenever you're dealing with something like this and you've got multiple people that is now scared to send their kids to school, we tried to take a different approach and go and speak to this guy and say, hey, look, this is what you're doing.
Right, but it's just, freedom of speech, you know?
As Bussart's wife explained to police, he saw nothing wrong with what he had done.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you did or did not commit a crime.
I may have been but
That's not illegal.
All of this could have been avoided, the sheriff says, if Bussart had just deleted the meme that people in Perry County had found so objectionable.
Whenever we sent Lexington Police Department out to speak to him, and he refused to do that, I mean, what kind of person does that? What kind of person just says he don't care? You know, I'm not taking it down.
Maybe a person who doesn't think he's done anything wrong.
Well, in TCA's eyes and our state legislatures that's put this law forth that come out July 1st, 2024, says otherwise.
They knew it wasn't threatening. The reason I know that they knew is because if he was actually threatening mass violence on school property and activities, if he was actually threatening mass violence, how would deleting the post eliminate the threat of mass violence. It wouldn't. It's like if the 9/11 terrorists posted about, we're gonna bomb the Twin Towers, we're gonna do this, and then, oh, well, take those posts down, and then the threat goes away. No, it doesn't. The post goes away, not the threat. If you knew he wasn't threatening mass violence, yet you charged him with mass violence, you falsely imprisoned him, you falsely charged him. This is a failure from the sheriff, from the arresting officers, from the DA to the judge. All of this is just conservative harassment of a Democrat, or at the very least, someone who was pointing out, using logic, using Donald Trump's own words, that Charlie Kirk's assassination isn't the biggest news of the day, isn't the only thing to be outraged about. Because the same crowd that's the free speech warrior crowd, they're the same crowd that talks about the Second Amendment protects my First Amendment. What about this guy's First Amendment? Nick Weems. What kind of a person just says he don't care? What kind of a person says he just don't care? Says the sheriff of Perry County. The elected sheriff. Stop electing stupid people to high office. Stop electing stupid people to offices that carry with it the ability to usurp someone's constitutional rights, to arrest, to detain, to imprison. Stop. Nick Weems shouldn't be working at a Dairy Queen along teenagers. He certainly shouldn't be the sheriff of a county that's making decisions like this, ordering officers who then follow unlawful orders to go and arrest and harass and imprison someone. What are we doing here? All in the name of Charlie Kirk, a racist, Christian nationalist bigot. The late Charlie Kirk was. Hypocrites, liars, scumbags, disrespecters, violators of our Constitution. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Let's have it out in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I love and appreciate you very much. I will see you next time. Man, I tell you what, being in studio, my voice is starting to get more raspy now that I'm back, and one video after the next. This is number 5 of the day in this particular program. And maybe I'm going to call it short. I'll see you next time. I love you. Be genuine. Take care of one another.